In 1959, America introduced its first astronauts, the Mercury 7. The right stuff. They were heroes, warriors, and they all had one thing in common. They were all men. But at the very same time, in secret, another group was being tested. They were faster, tougher, and in some tests, they scored better. And they were all women. This is the story of the astronauts who never flew. Our story starts not with NASA, but with a brilliant doctor named William Randolph Lovelace. He designed the torturous physical tests for NASA's male astronauts. And he had a radical, private question. What would happen if he gave those same tests to elite female pilots? His first subject was Jerry Cobb, a record-setting pilot with thousands more flight hours than some of the Mercury men. At Lovelace's clinic, she was put through hell, tubes in her stomach, ice water shot into her ears to trigger vertigo, brainwave scans. She didn't just pass. She aced it. Inspired, Lovelace and Cobb recruited more women. The best of the best. Ultimately, 13 of them passed the same brutal Phase 1 testing as the Mercury 7. They became known, unofficially, as the Mercury 13. The next step was Phase 2, advanced tests on Navy jet simulators and equipment in Pensacola, Florida. The women packed their bags, ready to prove themselves on military hardware. And then, the call came. The Navy cancelled. No official request from NASA. The door, firmly and finally, slammed shut. But Jerry Cobb and Janie Hart, a mother of 8 and a senator's wife, refused to quit. They took their fight to the last place they could, the United States Congress. July 1962. The Subcommittee on Equitable Treatment of Women convened. Jerry Cobb testified with calm, powerful logic.
We seek only a place in our nation's space future, without discrimination.
But the opposition was formidable. NASA set an unbreakable rule. Astronauts had to be graduates of military jet test pilot schools, a career field that was, and always had been, closed to women. Even astronaut hero John Glenn testified that this was just a fact of our social order. And the most damning evidence of all? A single line scrawled by Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson himself on a memo about the women.
Let's stop this now.
The dream was over. The cruelest twist came just 1 year later, in 1963. The Soviet Union launched Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman in space. The Mercury 13, all master pilots, had far more flight experience. America had lost the first leg of the space race for women. America wouldn't have a female astronaut for another 20 years. Real recognition for the Mercury 13 took decades. But in 1995, astronaut Eileen Collins, the first woman to pilot the space shuttle, invited them to her launch as her personal heroes. And in 2021, Wally Funk, the youngest of the 13, finally got her ticket to space. At 82, she became the oldest person to ever cross the Kármán line. They were never an official NASA class. They never wore a silver suit or lifted off the pad. But they proved, beyond any doubt, that they had the right stuff. They were the Mercury 13. And they were ready.